Secretary-General reiterates his call for a peaceful, timely, and orderly transfer of power in full respect of the will of the Gambian people as expressed in the presidential election.
Today, Gambia on edge. Will this autocratic leader accept democratic defeat from this new one? I'm Femi Oke, and you're in the stream.
I will never rule this country without your mandate since we started elections. And I will never cheat or dispute the elections because this is the most transparent, rig-proof elections in the whole world.
Gambia was poised for its first democratic transition in decades when President Yahya Jammeh conceded the national elections he lost earlier this month. Gambians who opposed his rule took to the streets in celebration.
We are happy and we know that we are going to rule the Gambia what they expected from us. We have democracy, new developments, everybody will be free movement, free, anything free, everything free. And we expect so many international people to come, or the Gambian who are in exile, so that they can come and develop in their own country.
But just 1 week later, Jame changed his mind.
I hereby announce to you, Gambians, my total rejection of the electoral results and thereby annulling the elections in its entirety. We will go back to the polls because I want to make sure that every Gambian has voted.
Jame has contested the vote in court and sent soldiers to raid Gambia's electoral commission. The winning candidate, Adama Barrow, has urged him to stand down.
The outgoing president has no constitutional authority to reject the result of the election and order for fresh election to be held. I urge him to change his current position and accept the verdict of the people in good faith for the sake of the Gambia, our homeland.
Even before losing to Barrow, Jame cracked down on his supporters. Dozens of activists were arrested after mass protests erupted in April, and at least 2 of them died in custody. Human rights groups have accused Jame of using repression to maintain the power he seized in a coup 22 years ago. Here to discuss the current crisis in Gambia, Dennis Foretia. He's an Africa analyst and commentator. Fatou Camara is a journalist and former press secretary to Gambian President Jame. Sharif Bojang Jr. is a journalist with West Africa Democracy Radio, and Samsudin Sarr is Gambia's Deputy Ambassador to the United Nations. Welcome, everybody. Let me show you something here online. This is Suffragette. I'm confused. Hasn't he already conceded? He just wants a way out. Truth is, Gambians have had enough and he needs to step down. That confusion, Samsudin. Are you also confused, or can you enlighten us as to why a president would concede and then change his mind?
That's the number one question I was expecting, and in fact, I think that's going to be the focal issue here, and that is what is missing in the narrative of why he changed his mind, because something happened on the 2nd of December, when the election results were read. We all know that it was on TV with the chairman of the Electoral Commission, Mr. Njai, reading the numbers, showing that Barrow, the winner, has won the election with over 263,000 votes, while Jame had 212,000 votes plus, and Mama candidate, third candidate, had about 102,000 votes.
So you're basically saying, Samsudin, that the president conceded on the election commission, saying, "Okay, you have lost. Here are the numbers," and then they made a mistake.
He conceded. It was all accepted 3 days after.
Yeah.
He did not come to the TV as such. He shadily, in a sneaky way, called back representatives of the parties at his office and gave them letters saying that there were mistakes in the counting, and instead of the difference, which was 51,000 votes that Barrow had won him with, it had reduced to something like 18,000. Numbers change from 263,000 for Barrow to about 227,000. And the margin narrowed to about 18,000. Come on. Let
me just bring that to everybody else's attention. Okay, so Sharif, the margin of the win narrowed dramatically, and you say what?
Well, I don't think this is an excuse that will especially warrant for a fresh election. I mean, the IEC admitted that there was a problem with collation with the counting, not the voting process, and they rectified that immediately. As soon as they are aware of that, they rectified that. It affected Barrow, it affected Jame as well as Mama Kande. So I don't see this noise about, the margins where, the margins have changed and things like that. I think the problem with, Jame, and I would say some to you too, is that you guys think that the clock started ticking the day Jame lost the election, but this is not the case. We have had problems before. In like Jame, the screen, the image and the statement of Jame that we had in front of us at the beginning, saying that he wanted to make sure that every Gambian had voted. Remember that if we take a quick trip down memory lane, Sam, in 2006, over 300,000 people didn't vote. Voters almost didn't vote. In 2011, over 100,000 people didn't vote. Where was Jame? Jame won in both elections. Some people like you went out to the street to celebrate, to jubilate. He was a good man. He was voted by his people. Now that he lost the election that he organized, he single-handedly, some international observers not allowed in or they stayed away. You won this election. You are the referee. You are there by yourself, the only party that was represented in all the single polling stations in the country. You lost the election. Now you come here and cry foul to sell that agenda to the people. I think it's so embarrassing and it's ridiculous.
I'm just wondering, Dennis, the surprise, I think, for people who are watching from the outside was that Jame lost the election, the fifth one. He won 5 elections in a row. He's been leader for 22 years. How do you lose a 5th election? What happened?
Well, I think Jame suffered from the problems that a lot of dictators, especially African dictators, have. One is they believe too much in their popularity. And for once, Jame made a mistake, which in my perspective is a very good mistake he made. He tried to organize an election transparently, allowing the results to be tabulated in the local regions.
So you're saying that was a mistake?
Big mistake for him. And
or was it democracy?
Well, it was democracy. For dictators, that's not how they do it. We know that from Cameroon. They actually make sure that the results are counted in a particular location where they can tamper with the votes. But the fact of the matter is the Gambians have spoken. More than 65% of Gambians voted against President Yahya. The sun has shifted underneath him. He has to go. And I don't see any way out for Jame except stepping down. Everything is closing around him. He really has no options but to step down.
Fatih, let me just show everybody a picture of you working with Jame. You were his press secretary for not that long, but probably long enough to maybe understand his mindset right now. How do you think he's dealing with this issue of, is he president? Is he not going to be president next year? What do you think he's thinking?
Well, I think this is very, very shocking for Jame because this is a guy who believes that everybody in the Gambia loves him. So until now, he's in denial, especially when he went on television saying, oh, I still have questions about why 300,000 people did not vote. What he missed there is that people like us, we all have our voters card, but he exiled us. So I think if you ask me, I would say right now, the man is in denial. And it has always been like this. The Gambian people, since many years ago, started to lose confidence in Jame. But like Dennis said, he, because of the elections, the way that the elections were held, we all know he's been rigging elections. But when he came out with this counting on the spot, the truth came out.
Let me show you something here. A visit by West African leaders to get Gambia's defeated president to step down did not go quite as planned. Yes, Sam, let me just show this picture here because it was pretty impressive. The heads of state from many countries across the ECOWAS region. And then let me show you here, PRT says this was a failure in tour de force neighbourhood diplomacy. What's the diplomacy that's going on behind the scenes, Sam?
Apparently, I think the guys are just there for fact-finding. They were there for fact-finding mission. But I want to talk about something a little more related to what we're talking about now. And that is the you, in your presentation, in your introduction, you talk about the demonstration that happened in April, right? And the April demonstration came out of efforts being made in 2014 by people in the diaspora here who have been, in the past 2-3 years, aggressively trying to undermine the stability of the country. They bought almost $240,000 worth of weapons and sent mercenaries into the Gambia to attack the country because they said the elections
we are here.
in the country,
Sam, you cannot hold
elections
us
can never be free and fair in the country. That was it. They say the Electoral Commission belongs to Jame. He owns it.
No, Sam, if I can just come in there.
So they attacked the country. It failed. No. In fact, most of them are now serving in American jails because of
So Samson, because of our limited Samson and Sharif, because of our limited time that we have together, I want to focus on what do we do now, because we're in a crisis right now. So
the crisis evolved. Crisis evolved because after that.
But Samson, I'm not going to walk through every moment since April. I'm going to bring us up to date right now. Fatu, what do you want to add? Sam, let me come. I understand that, Fatu, but we only have so much time.
What happened in April? Everybody was saying that, in fact,
So what's going to happen now? All right, Fatu, come into the conversation. Sam, hold tight for a moment. Yes. Sam, hold tight for a moment. I hear you. Fatu, go ahead.
I think he's mixing a whole lot of things that are definitely not related. And like I said, let's talk about now. What happened is Gambians cannot wait for this dictator to go because we have suffered enough. And what happened right here is when he considered defeat, people started coming out in the streets and everyone was happy. Can you imagine people that I could not talk to for 3 years because they were avoiding to talk to people like us in the diaspora because they could get arrested. So these people, we spent hours and hours with them on the phone. Jame got mad with the freedom that the Gambian people have started to get, and he decided to come in thinking that he still has that control, which he didn't realize that there is no way that he can return Gambians to dictatorship.
You have radio show that has been going on for the past years where you talk to Gambians every day. I listen to it. And you have been inciting violence in that country.
Sharif, hold tight for a moment.
Your brother-in-law, who is now serving jail in America here, played a part in trying to attack the Gambia.
So let me just say for everybody who's watching, who's trying to keep up with this conversation, Fatu does have an opposition radio show. Sam, hold on for a moment, just so I can explain to everybody. Fatu, you do have an opposition radio show, which is what Sam is referring to. Denise, what did you want to add?
Well, so you were asking a question about where does Gambia go from here and what happens. And, you know, you saw the ECOWAS leaders in Gambia to talk some sense into President Yahya. The bottom line is Jame has no way out. I think the reason why he's...
I think you are making a great mistake in making that statement.
I understand.
Jame has a way out.
I know he has a way out. The way out may not...
the way out?
The way out may not be in Gambia.
I don't know where you're coming from with your negative statements. Because
it's because of attitude like yours.
If you want
to listen to attitude like us.
So Sharif and Fatu, hold tight for a moment. I know you've all got comments to make. Just hold tight for a moment so I can hear you all, because I know everything you're saying is critical. No way out. Why?
No way out. Why? Because the mistake that he made, which is a very good mistake he made, was actually accepting the result. When you accept the result, you actually give the Gambians a voice. And the Gambians have found a voice. There is no way he's going to can that voice. The Gambians will not accept. If you look at it, the civil society in Gambia has stood up. A lot of folks, people in the universities are standing up against Jame. What the ECOWAS leaders are doing are actually just trying to be very friendly to him. Because at the end of the day, the sun has shifted under Jame. Jame has no rule. I think the opposition with Barrow, you know, people like Jame understand one thing. They understand power. They understand strength. You know, I was very, very pleased when Barrow made a statement today, offered an olive branch to the president, saying, you know what, I will not prosecute President Yahya. President Yahya can stay in the country if he chooses to. You know, the former president lives in the country. I will not prosecute him. But at the same time, I would come January 18, if he does not step down in power, I would be president. And that, Femi, is what is going to make a difference. And I think, to go one step further, President-elect Barrow and his team need to actually show Jame that they are serious for business. And that means they have to do a couple of things, in my opinion. They have to start nominating their cabinet. They have to do things like actually start nominating folks who are going to be representing them
So they need
abroad.
to get on with their transition. Let me just go back to Sam. Because Fatu, hold tight for a moment, because I want to keep ping-ponging back to Sam, because Sam is the voice of President Jame right now. Sam, why do you think that this is a condescending point of view? Why do you think that Jame has options? What are the options?
Because, you see, all these so-called reporters running around trying to be experts over this issue do not talk about the fact that Jame readily accepts the results day one. And he talked to the whole world and even talk about going to the farm.
So, Sam, tell us about the options. Tell us about the options. What options does he have?
The electoral reform came back and said the numbers have
we've
changed
talked about that.
drastically.
Sam, take us forward. What are the options?
What are the options of apparently...
What are his options?
His options are he doesn't accept the results because the results look illegitimate, and because, I mean, like,
so what?
The original statement, the original numbers changed so badly that
you're repeating yourself. What take us forward, Sam? You're repeating yourself. What happens next?
And some very terrible anomalies were found, which are going to be presented to the courts.
Where does Jame go from here?
He's not going to accept them.
Can I come in?
All right, so gentlemen, hold tight for a moment, because we have Sam's like, the president's not going to accept. Sharif is, so what now? Fatu, what do you want to add?
Okay, in the first place, when he said the so-called reporters, the reporters are the one President Yahya had.
I'm sorry about that. I'm talking about that so-called expert Dennis coming from nowhere and doesn't know what's happening in the Gambia.
Yeah, you have to,
all right,
Sam, this is the problem.
Sam and Sharif, just give me a moment. Just give me a pause for a moment, just so I can hear you.
Dennis doesn't know what the heck is going on in the Gambia.
So what I was trying to say is I served as President Jammeh's press secretary on 2 occasions, and what happened at the end, I was sent to prison for 25 days, and I had to leave my kids behind. I was not even allowed to say goodbye to my kids or good night to my kids. And what Sam is talking about, inciting violence, the FATU network is very, very credible network that works with international organizations. We had many meetings with experts here in the United States. Sam is the one who incites violence, because if you could remember when the protest happened in April, Sam said if he was there and he was in charge, he was going to shoot peaceful protesters. We have never advocated for that.
I'm going to get us all to take a pause for a moment.
Come on.
And Sam and Fatu, just give me a moment because I want to bring in some other voices here, as if we need some more voices. Okay, this is Sabrina Martani. Sabrina was in the Gambia quite recently. She talks about what a lot of people talk about with the Gambia, human rights abuses. Have a listen to what she wanted to add to our conversation.
We've documented several human rights violations that have occurred during President Jammeh's regime. It was a regime that was run on a climate of fear, where people would be afraid of being arbitrarily arrested or tortured if they spoke out against the president or the government, or even were just perceived to be an opponent. I was in Gambia and in court when Lawyer Darbo and several other political prisoners were freed. This was a really joyful moment, and people sang the national anthem and shouted freedom.
Sam, there's another headline I want to show to you. This is from Human Rights Watch. Gambia, 2 decades of fear and repression. I'm wondering if for Gambians, they're just ready for a change. They're ready for something different. It's been 22 years. Could you accept that? Could President Jammeh accept that?
Is that for me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Sam.
Yes, he can accept that. He can accept that. But you see, like, Jame, Gambia is just a small nation that's being targeted by the West. Jame is the leader who doesn't encourage foreign dominance. It started long time ago. I was in the army. I was the army commander before I turned out to be where I am today. Before that, Gambia was so bad, the government there invited foreign leaders, foreign military officers to come and command the army, because the army was nothing. When they sent us for peacekeeping and we died there, they say they will not even bring us back home for burial because soldiers were nothing. When Jammeh took over, he gave me the responsibility to fly to Liberia to bring all the dead soldiers that were abandoned there and brought them home for burial.
So while we're reminiscing, Sam, let me play you something. Sam, let me play you this from the Guardian, because this really struck me. This is rewinding 22 years. Have a listen to this.
We have no plans to stay long. All we are here for is to set a just system and to put up structures that will ensure that what happened in the past 30 years would never happen again.
It's a very young President Jammeh there, Sharif. What happened? What happened in those 22 years that now he's fighting?
Sharif. Humans evolve.
Yes, Sam, I hear that. Sam, I hear that. You have one note in your debate, so let me just listen in to Sharif. Sharif?
I think it's the tappings of power. We've seen when Jammeh came, in the Gambia, but when Jammeh came, to power in 1994, a lot of us embraced it. We looked for change. We knew what we had was not working the way we wanted it to work, and we looked for change. When he came, he pretended to be the promised Messiah, and we embraced him. But it didn't take long when things changed. Sam himself, talking about being in the army, he went to jail. What were you in jail for? What did you go to jail for? Maybe, so a lot of things changed. People went to jail and things, and then eventually, from one step to the other, we ended up having this. Can you show some respect for once and listen to me, please? I can understand when you are a diplomat, you have a very good job. When you're about to lose your job, to a new regime, you can be a bit emotional. I understand that, and I forgive you. But please let me complete. Let me complete. So we move.
Sharif, let's have a listen to Sam. It's important to hear that voice of the president too in this conversation.
Why did you go to jail? Why did Jammeh send you to jail?
No. That was coup d'etat. That was coup d'etat.
Yes, give me a moment. Give me a pause for a moment. Give me a pause for a moment.
Can I just come in there?
Fatu, hold tight for a moment. Dennis, what is happening here? We have Gambians, all Gambians here. Fatu, Sharif, Samsudin, they're all fighting amongst each other. I'm wondering who's the loser here.
Well, I know who the winner is. They are the winners. The entire Gambian people are the winners.
Right.
Because, as in 1994, when President Yahya came into power, everybody was happy about it. It's 22 years after that. There are positives and negatives. A lot of people look at it and say there are lots of negatives. But right now, what the Gambians are facing is what future they are going to have for themselves. And it's that quest about, is this when they're going to have their democracy? Is this a period which is going to be reminiscent to 1992 in Ghana or 1999 in Nigeria? The one thing about Gambia and the problem that Yahya Jammeh faces is that of geography. Unfortunately for him, his neighbors right now do not tolerate, coups like this. It's just unfortunate. If Jame was in Cameroon in Central Africa, he would have an easier way. But unfortunately for him, he's not going to be hanging out with...
You might be getting ahead of yourself. It's not a coup.
No, it's not the coup. Let me finish.
We're right at the end of the show, so your finishing is in a sentence. Go ahead.
So the leaders around him are all going to be looking for things to move forward, and they will not tolerate, the situation there.
Okay, we have not finished by any sense of the word. Sam, we're right at the end of the show. Sam, I will, but I'm going to take you online. Fatu, Sharif, Sam, and Dennis, I have to take you online. And I know everybody watching will be going online as well, because they will be on the edge of their seat to hear where the debate is going to next. Let me show you something here from Miss Petite. She says he needs to respect the will of the people and step down. No conditions. People have honestly had it with him. Do you have another point of view you want to share? You want to add to our debate? Hashtag AJStream. We will be on the online post show. It'll be feisty, it'll be loud. Stream.aljazeera.com. See you there. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hello again, welcome to our online post show. Guess I asked for a really great African debate and I got it. It's my fault. Fatu, you've been trying to add something, go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to talk to Sam. We know that Sam was arrested in the Gambia, just like a sheriff said, and then he went totally against President Yahya. He even wrote a book where he came out, and after the people bought the book, he came out when he reconciled with President Yahya and said everything that was in the book was a lie.
I did not say that. You're lying. That's not true. That's not true.
Yes, you said that. You said that.
I did not say that. I did not.
The president. You said that.
All right, Fatu, hold on a minute.
I
Sam.
just said that I was a little emotional in the way I wrote the book, and I could have written it differently. But I didn't
you have to. Sam is right here. If Sam says he didn't say it, let's go with that.
And it is not even as you are trying to present it.
Can you let me land? Can you let me land? You wrote that book when President Yahya pardoned you. You said everything that was in that. Okay, let me finish. President Yahya came out. Listen.
And Sam, hold tight for a moment.
Fatu. I did not
let me finish that line. Let me land. President Yahya came out. President Yahya came out when he pardoned you. He said on television that, including that one that wrote a book that's a pack of lies. That's exactly what he said, and it's in record.
I agree because.
Yeah, so you can
hold tight for a moment. I can't hear you. I do not understand the point that you made, Fatu. Sam, hold tight for a moment. I'm just going to move on because you're all yelling and I actually don't know what you said.
I'm sorry.
All right.
Yeah. And I want to comment.
I
want to comment here. I mean, a lot of Gambians will be watching, and I think the essence of this program is to move on and how to get the Gambia out of this mess. We've had 22 years of a dictatorial regime characterized by all sorts of brutalities, and the Gambia, a lot of things happen in the Gambia, over the last 22 years. What is going to happen is that we have a government, a president, incoming president, voted for by the Gambian people, and he's going to take over the country. And the priorities for him and for the Gambia from now on is to sort out all the mess created by Jame. We have reforms, we have the constitutional reforms, we have to look after the security issues, we have to look at the, economic issues of the country, whether, some agrees or not. This is what matters to the Gambian people. We have to move on. The political deadlock might go on for a few days or weeks, but it's not sustainable. At the end, it will have to stop. And Adama Barrow will have to take over the country, and we'll have to move on to make the lives of Gambians better than it has been over the past 22 years.
So Fatu and Sharif and Dennis, I hear you all coming from this same perspective. What I'm not getting is clarity from Sam as to what will President Jammeh actually do. What intelligence do you have about his position? Because he doesn't
have anything.
Fatu, hold tight.
Okay.
What can he do in the next few weeks? He has to do it before January the 18th, correct?
Now, he has already put his position clearly to the people that he is not accepting these numbers because the IEC changed the numbers.
And what does that mean, Sam? Not accepting the numbers. Does that mean that he will not step down?
What's the solution?
There are all these threats, and that's why I don't like the statement being made by Dennis talking about the global, the surrounding countries.
So Sam, that's what I tried to move on from. I just wanted clarity, just me clarity, and probably the viewers as well. So what does the president do now? He's not accepting, and then what does that actually mean? Spell it out for us.
We're going to go back to elections again.
What?
No.
You are not. That's true. In your dreams, you wish. Keep dreaming.
Excuse me. That's
the
what he
Gambians
said.
have spoken.
What
the Gambians
I'm going to tell you is that if these people are inciting all these things, talking about, yes, countries are going to look into military intervention, all this. Please don't even go there, because if you try to break that country with a military intervention, you might turn it into another Libya or another Iraq or another. It's not going to happen.
But that's not. You don't have.
So Fatu and Sharif, there were a couple of comments that came in from our online community. Would you just allow me 30 seconds just to put them to Sam, because people watching your conversation have questions as well. Sam, here's one. This is from Mandig Mori, and Mandig Mori says, the problem is, though, nobody has time for fresh polls. Sam?
Is that problem?
Nobody has time for fresh polls. Like going...
Yeah, that's his opinion. What is happening on the ground is evolving as time goes on. I mean, like, nobody is going to force this government out of power like that. because it's not going to happen. That's what I'm going to say.
All right.
Now, if you think it's going to happen, you just in a dream world.
Okay. Femi, can I come in here?
Yes. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead,
Since the Jammeh's problem, since your problem is not about the registration process or things like that, the problem is collation. What about, would you settle for recount of votes instead of fresh election?
Because if you now the IEC really disappointed me. Because up to the
you
last
don't answer. You are not answering my question.
Up to the last
will
day
you settle for
the online radios, including that of Fatu, was telling the Gambians.
All right,
that
so
if
Sam,
they,
Sam,
you're not answering my question. Can you answer my question? Can you answer my question?
All right, Sam.
IEC came back to
Can you answer my question?
Sharif, stand down for a moment. It's a very good question. I'm going to try and get you an answer. Hold tight, everybody. Sam, hold tight here a moment. Sam actually sent us this press release, and very valid to our conversation. Error in the total of final election results. So the election office was saying, yeah, actually, we did make a mistake. Here are the actual votes. Barrow Adama still winning, Jame second, and Kande Mama came in third. This is their recalculated votes. So Sheriff said, would you accept a recount, Sam? That's kind of a yes or no question,
listen,
right?
Can you imagine, with all the jubilation and everything, if this guy had counted the votes and saw the error and realized that Jame has won, or it is a draw, you think he would come out and announce it and people accept it? That would have been chaos around the world.
Sam, so I think what you all want to do,
answering the question. Can you answer the question? Would you settle for recount?
Sheriff, let me say this, since he does not want to answer the question.
Something that
what they want to do.
All right, Sheriff and Fatu and Sam. Everybody just give me a pause. Everybody just give me a pause for a moment. Everybody give me a pause. Just everybody hold tight for a moment. This is a very good question, because at the moment we don't have clarity as to what President Jammeh might do. So the recount question, let's go back to it one more time. Sam, it's kind of a yes or a no. Would the president accept a recount?
It's possible. It's possible. Because I'm not there. No. He is. I'm just representing him here, but I don't know.
Can I say this? Sam, can I just say this? Yahya Jammeh would not want a recount. Let me tell you what he would do. What he wants to do is to have fresh elections and bring people who would ring for him. That's what he wants, and that's not going to happen.
All right, this has been invigorating. She says euphemistically. Fatu, Sharif, Samsudin, it's been very invigorating. I'm sure conversations like this are happening all over the Gambia. If we just stand back a little bit more, I want to go back to this incredible picture we had of these African heads of state all sitting around with President Jammeh having a chat. If we look at the big picture for, let's just say West Africa, ECOWAS, let's not say the entire continent, because that's way too big. What does this moment mean from your perspective?
Well, from my perspective, it's actually a test moment for ECOWAS, but actually it's a moment that they've dealt with before. So it's actually an opportunity for them to build on their democracy strategy for ECOWAS.
It's an opportunity.
Egypt.
Sam, give me a minute. Sam, give me a minute. It's an opportunity for them to build on their democracy. The heads of state and government in ECOWAS a while ago understood that economic development in ECOWAS region will not be possible without peace and security. And they've, across the many years, more than a decade, have made sure that they would uphold that.
Sam just called you a pseudo-intellectual.
No, that's okay. I don't want to brag about anything, but that's fine.
Exactly.
It's okay to do that.
You go to get to Egypt and tell Susi to step down because the Muslim Brotherhood won the elections there.
So
because of national security.
This has been enlightening. If a little noisy. I would just like one sentence for everybody predicting what will happen at the end of January. Where do you think the Gambia will be? In a sentence, Fatu.
We're moving forward and Jame is going to be out of power. That I can tell you right now. Gambians have spoken and we have spoken well.
Sharif, the end of January, take us to that. What would you say? What would your analysis be for the end of January?
We will have His Excellency President Adama Barrow, and then I will have the opportunity to go home and be with our president, and Gambia will sign once again, and Jammeh's memory will be erased from my head.
Samsudin, the end of January, what do you predict will be the actual outcome of this crisis?
We are campaigning for the United States of America to start shutting down all these inciting radio stations that have been creating turbulence in the Gambia. In the
Maybe
same
you
way
will pack up to go home too. You might want to pack up to go home.
Yes.
Well,
you've been away so long. You want to go home?
Sam, we have to stop him from writing books as well. We have to stop him from writing books because he can't
I will write. I will write. I will continue writing. I love to write and I know how to write. I will continue writing.
Meet me in Conakry Part 2. I cannot wait for that. Meet me in Conakry Part 2.
It's coming back. The second version.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm glad everybody's laughing. I feel that everyone's laughing. This is a good time to stop the show.
I have one question.
No, enough with your questions. No, that will be a no. Okay, my brothers, my sister, thank you. It's been invigorating. I'm going to lie down. Thank you for watching, everybody. Take care.